Yo, welcome into the show. Here's what's on tap for today's Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. Are the Eagles likely to sign All-Pro safety Justin Simmons, a former NFL general manager, thinking that the Birds are the team to pick him up in free agency? Also, stay tuned for this. We have some fascinating Eagles schedule takeaways. The NFL schedule getting released yesterday. We already did our schedule release video, but we do a deep dive, and you won't find this information or this insight anywhere else on YouTube. Let's begin with the player who we've talked about a lot here on the show, and that is the All-Pro safety Justin Simmons, who was let go right before the start of NFL free agency by the Denver Broncos in a cost-cutting move. And the reason that we're talking about him again, and I know some of you are already in the comment section saying, why do we continue to talk about Justin Simmons? Well, that's because this player would dramatically improve this defense for Philadelphia, and I think help dramatically improve the Eagles' Super Bowl chances. And a former NFL general manager, an executive of the year who has a lot of experience in player development, being in the front office, thinks that Simmons will land with Philadelphia. And why I think this is in play, why I think it makes a lot of sense for the Birds and for Justin Simmons if we're going to talk about the player fit. The Antoine Winfield contract between him, excellent young safety, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really impacted the safety market. Antoine Winfield became the highest paid safety in the National Football League. He also became the highest paid defensive back in the history of the NFL with that average annual value of $24 million. He gets that type of cash. Justin Simmons, unfortunately at his age, even though he has this incredible resume, is not going to get anything close to $24 million per season. Then you start to put the ties together, right? And you think about Simmons and Philadelphia and some of the communication that could take place, the role that he could have, the opportunity that he has on his plate, and the familiarity between the Eagles defensive coordinator and Vic Fangio and Justin Simmons. Vic Fangio used to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos and used to coach Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons was one of the leaders, one of the better communicators, a team captain for the defense that Vic Fangio is running while in the Mile High City. So Simmons understands how Vic Fangio sees the game, and Vic Fangio understands and knows what type of player Simmons is and the way that he's able to utilize him. And Simmons would be coming onto a defense that has gotten about 3 to 4 years younger this offseason compared to the defense that we saw in 2023, which was catastrophic and an absolute disaster. And they have this influx of youth, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell. So as a vet, Justin Simmons has a great opportunity here where he doesn't have to worry about a young rebuilding team like you would in Denver. He can come to a Super Bowl contending team with some intriguing young players. And as a vet, he can call the shots for this defense on that back end. And then you think about the need, right? Philadelphia has a need for a safety. You have C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Cooper DeJean, they're going to try him out at cornerback to start with. Sidney Brown coming off an ACL. Reed Blankenship, he got that contract extension, or at least the guaranteed money on his deal, which takes him through the next 2 years. But come on now, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Justin Simmons, what a safety pairing that would be. And then lastly, do the Eagles have the money? Of course Howie Roseman has loaded up the bank account and the chamber with a bunch of money still to spend, even after they were active in free agency and handed out those contract extensions to some of their own players. Philadelphia right now equipped with $27.2 million in cap space. Now, Randy Mueller is the former general manager and the former executive who is linking Justin Simmons to Philadelphia, and he thinks it's going to happen. Who is he? Well, he worked his way up from being an NFL ball boy as a young bull to becoming an NFL general manager. He was named the NFL Executive of the Year while with the New Orleans Saints in 2000. He was also the GM of the Miami Dolphins from 2005 to 2007, and now he's a front office expert and player evaluation expert for The Athletic. Let's go through what Randy Mueller had to say about Simmons and the Birds. Simmons was a salary cap dump before free agency and is yet to hook on with another team. Money has to be a factor because his skill set on the field has not dipped. His instincts and first step quickness allow him to make plays in coverage, but at over 200 pounds, he can still fill the box and tackle, which is a hard combination to find. His range in coverage might not be what it used to be, and that's why the scheme fit will matter. But his football IQ, leadership, communication will allow him to fit in quickly wherever he finds a home. And you think about what Randy Mueller had to say there about Justin Simmons. He can still play, and I still think he has it. He's still playing at an all-pro level, 30 years old, going into his age 31 season. Mueller also mentioned the scheme fit and scheme continuity. There's that as well. So it's not like we're talking about a player in Shaq Leonard last year, for instance, who was clearly cooked. Clearly not the same player since undergoing those back surgeries and the other injuries that he was dealing with. Justin Simmons is still playing at that all-pro caliber level. Last year in coverage, allowed a completion rate of 63.9%, 324 yards surrendered, 3 touchdowns, 8 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, and a quarterback rating allowed of 85.9. And I've said this a couple of different times here on the show. Since coming into the league in 2016, Justin Simmons leads all players in interceptions. The ball skill component to his game, again, makes this Eagles defense a lot better, and I look at him as another weapon on this team. More from Mueller. No other position has taken a pay hit like safeties this offseason. The Bucs' historic extension for Antoine Winfield Jr. is much more the exception than the rule. Winfield has Pro Bowl skills, but I think that part of the value to the Bucs in this signing is continuity, which has been prevalent throughout the entire offseason in Tampa. Winfield's contract might even make it slightly more difficult for Simmons to find a home, but he's 5 years older than Winfield, which is hard to ignore. I think the Philadelphia Eagles make sense as a landing spot with the defense in which Simmons succeeded during his tenure in Denver, playing for then head coach Vic Fangio, and now the Eagles defensive coordinator. The veteran free safety could call the shots, direct the ship that now has 2 rookie corners, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, while teaming up with free agent signee C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is still learning the safety position after playing nickel corner the majority of his career. At this point, Simmons might have to take a short-term deal to reestablish his market for 2025, so both sides would have to get creative, but it sure makes sense. Now, I talked about a couple of the reasons before that as for why this move makes sense. As for the contract here, Howie Roseman has shown, look, I'm comfortable with signing veterans to 1-year deals while we're in this Super Bowl window, and those players have shown to be impactful players, and Justin Simmons could be that as well. Think about what this could do for this defense. And the Eagles have the money. They have the need. I'm with Mueller. And that's why I've continued to talk about Justin Simmons as a dream acquisition. It makes too much sense. And Howie Roseman is too smart to not make this happen. If you think Justin Simmons is the missing piece for this Eagles team, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video right now, because I certainly think he is. Speaking of Cooper DeJean, we talked about him a few moments ago. Justin Simmons could be a great tutor for Cooper DeJean, maybe even help him with that transition to safety if he can't work out at corner. We have Cooper DeJean shirts available. Use that link down below and cop yours today. Chatsports.com/DeJean, available in Kelly green and black. If you don't get the joke, are you really a true Philadelphian or Eagles fan? Smash that John. Get that John. Cooper DeJean shirts available right now. Link is down below in the show notes as well as in the comment section of this video. Let's round out the show with this. Some really interesting, informative Eagles schedule takeaways. You're not going to find this information elsewhere here on YouTube. First, let's take a look once more at the Eagles 2024 schedule. Don't worry, I'll do my schedule prediction video coming here soon on the channel. Week 1, Eagles start off the campaign overseas in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers. Week 2, Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. Week 3, early slot on the road against the New Orleans Saints. Week 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 5, just a criminally early bye week for Philadelphia. I don't see why that makes sense at all. Week 6 against the Browns at home. Week 7 on the road against the Giants as Saquon Barkley takes on his former team at MetLife. Week 8, another road game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 9, the Birds will host Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday Night Football. Week 10, on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Week 11, Commanders on Thursday Night Football. That game under the lights at the Lincoln South Philly. Week 12 against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Week 13 on the road against the Ravens. Week 14, Panthers at home. Week 15, Steelers at home. Week 16, Commanders on the road as Eagles fans will once again take over FedEx. What up, Josh Harris? Suck it. Week 17 against the Dallas Cowboys, and then Week 18 at home against the New York Giants. To those takeaways here and some information that you need to become a more informed Eagles fan. The Eagles this year do not play a single team coming off the bye. So there really is no rest disadvantage. As for the rest advantage, there's a couple of those early in the year and then a little bit later. Early in the year, Eagles had the rest advantage over the Falcons because they play in Brazil on Friday. So they have a little bit more than a week to prepare. And then they had the rest advantage against the Cleveland Browns as well because Cleveland's doing a lot of traveling. Remember last year when the schedule came out and we looked at the gauntlet for Philadelphia and we're like, man, that is going to be a really difficult stretch of the schedule to get through for Philadelphia. And I had pinpointed it as the gauntlet. And that's a great word to say, right? Great word to use. But we looked at that and we're like, okay. And I said this at the time. Eagles need to start off hot because later in the year, when you're taking on the Niners, rest disadvantage, the Bills, Miami, Dallas, that's a tough stretch. Seattle after that. They always historically have never played well against Seattle, especially in Seattle. This year, there is no gauntlet like that like there was last year. There's a couple of difficult stretches. You have the roadies against the Rams and the Ravens. And then, or the gauntlet here, roadies, Rams, Ravens. And then you're at Cincinnati against Jacksonville, Dallas. That could be like the gauntlet this year. It doesn't compare to last year. So to simplify things, because I messed that up, you are on the road against the Rams, Ravens, Cincinnati, against Jacksonville, at Dallas. That's probably the most difficult stretch of the calendar year for Philadelphia on the docket. And then, while you do have to play the Rams cross country, you do have the rest advantage going up against the Rams after that Thursday Night Football game. You also don't have to get on a plane until after Week 12. So that's another advantage for Philadelphia here on the schedule. 4 of the 6 final games for Philadelphia at the friendly confines of Lincoln Financial Field. You have those roadies against Baltimore and Washington. You don't have to get on a plane for those games. You go down I-95 to Baltimore, and it's a short trip to Washington. And based on the Super Bowl odds for the Eagles here, they have the 6th easiest schedule in the National Football League. That's why I think they can win 12, 13 games this upcoming season. The Eagles, though, do have to travel a little bit. They are going to travel the 8th most miles among 32 teams in the National Football League. So some key takeaways that I wanted to pass along and some information that'll help you in trying to absorb this schedule, let it marinate a little bit, and maybe that'll help you put together your record predictions. Because I'm asking you this question right now. What will the Eagles' record be? Let me know down in the comment section right now. As always, we appreciate everybody for watching. And for those of you who know this show, you know that Reed Barkus has been a longtime super chatter, longtime supporter, longtime viewer. He's also the childhood friend of producer Chip. Well, we just hired him here at Chat Sports, and he just produced his first Philadelphia Eagles now. So everybody type RB down in the chat right now. I didn't see any major mistakes. I didn't see any mistakes at all. So good job to Reed. We'll catch you next time here on the show. Peace.